When you fire a coach or a manager, you have to have a plan as to what you're doing next. You have to have tampered with a coach who has an existing job and find out whether that coach wants that job. You have to know who your top three choices are, and you have to move quickly, decisively. You are the New York Knicks. And every day, all we read is how embarrassing it is that they ask permission from a team to interview that team's head coach, and that team says no. What are we talking about? The New York Knicks asked the Dallas Mavericks, and I want to tell you how you do this. I'm going to tell you that right now. Do you know that when you get permission, because in baseball, you request permission to speak to employees, managers, all the way down to people in an analytics department. If there is an employee of another team and you would like to hire that employee, you officially file for permission to speak to that employee to the other team. It's not orally, it's in writing. The other team has a number of days to respond. And if they respond no, you have the right to go to the commissioner and say, can you check on this? You don't really go to the commissioner, but you go to the commissioner's office and say, hey, are we being unreasonably withheld from speaking to this person because we are offering a much better, bigger job? So if there is someone who is an assistant general manager and you want to interview that person to become your general manager and that team doesn't give you permission, you can call the commissioner's office and you can say, hey, we want to promote this person to general manager. And the commissioner's office does not have the power to mandate that the other team permits access to the person. However, they can call the team and say, you can't really hold someone back. It's not right. What we did to avoid being poached is we did something called title inflation. Title inflation is when you make an AGM a GM, you make a GM a president of baseball operations, and you say that the reason you're not granting permission is it's not any sort of increase in title. And then you have every reason in the world to say no, and no problem at all. What employees do often is they'll speak to people on another team and say, hey, will you have your team call and ask permission? I'm going to use that to try to get another 5 or 10 grand. Scouts do this, development people do it. It happens very commonly. Hey, the Orioles want to offer me 60 grand. You're paying me 50. At least give me a raise to 55 and no problem, I'll stay. We came into that issue 7 times per season minimum. No problem. We'll deal with it one at a time. Sometimes we say go. Sometimes we say stay. We'll give you a raise. Sometimes we say nothing, whatever. When it comes to a manager, if you call another team and request permission to ask to be a manager, guess what? We did it with Ozzie Guillen. Hey, can we have permission? The answer is sometimes yes, sometimes no, but no mandatory requirement. When you call the Mavericks to get permission of Jason Kidd, or you call Minnesota to get permission on Chris Finch, or you call Houston to get permission on Ime Udoka, or if you call Atlanta to get permission on Quinn Snyder, or Chicago to get permission on Billy Donovan, and you get rejected by everyone, there's not one time we called to get permission on a manager where we hadn't spoken to the manager first and we thought there was an opportunity that the manager wanted to be with us. Not one time. It is unbelievable the Knicks fired Thibodeau and they had no idea where they were going because it makes them look unorganized, foolish. If you don't have a pinpointed direction for your organization, do you think, Coca, this can't be? Do you think for 1 second that players during their exit interviews said, we don't like playing for Coach Tibbs, And then Jimmy Dolan said, oh, I guess we got to fire him. And then they fired him with no plan of succession. Because if that's the case, to all Knicks fans out there, you will never get a ring, ever. Not one chance. Because that is the sign of an owner that blows with the wind, Bob Dylan. That's the sign of an owner that is so worried what his players think that he's going to make a coaching change without a plan. Here's what actually happened. I refuse. I'm not a Dolan guy. You know this. There is a possibility here that every organization looks at the Knicks with disdain and contempt that is normally saved for your worst enemy. There is a chance that basketball, the commissioner's office, and all the teams got together collusion style and said, we are going to screw the Knicks so badly. If anybody gives permission to the Knicks, you're going to be in trouble. Let them flail in the wind and hire a first-time coach not ready for prime time. Let them continue to be a franchise defined by mediocrity but amazing revenue. To all the people who believe that that's what's happening, I would only introduce to you that within baseball, that sort of petty jealousy absolutely, totally exists. There have been so many times when teams get together and not knowingly, but it's just part of the undercurrent of chatter. Hey, do not give the Dodgers a break. Hey, forget the Yankees. Totally common. Hey, that player over there, forget him. Not collusion. Not holding down salaries. Not violating anybody's rights. You do not have the right to play Major League Baseball. You may have the right to bet Lord Byron, and that's it. Where do the Knicks go from here? They have to come out, and I mean now. They have to hire somebody, and they have to say that that person is exactly who they wanted from the beginning. They have to come out and say that their plan was this person, because otherwise the fan base, the sponsors, who no matter what support the Knicks, but everyone will feel better about the money they're spending. From the league standpoint, they want the Knicks to be good. They want them to be around, but they've got the TV deals. They're fine. If the Knicks don't win a finals in the next 11 years of TV deals, no problem. The fact that all of this came out the way it has, that all of this information is leaking in this way, is there any other possibility than it is a purposeful embarrassment against Jimmy Dolan?